Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Jamunatira Vanachari. Jamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Jamunatira Vanachari. Jamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gora Bhaktavinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gora Bhaktivedanta. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada. Jaya Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Vishwapad Paramhamsa Parivajagacharya Astottara Shata Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki. Jaya Vishwapad Brahmhamsa Parivajagacharya Astottara Shata Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai. Grantharaj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 2, Prayers by the Demigods, Text 33. Tatha nate madhava tavaka kvachid brashyanti margat tvai baddha sohrida. Dvaya bhigupta vicharanti nirbhaya Vinayakani kapamurdasu Prabho Tatha nate madhava tavaka kvachid Brashyanti margat tvaibadda sohrida Dvaya bhigupta vicharanti nirbhaya Vinayakani kapamurdasu Prabho Tatha nate madhavatavaka kvachid Brashyanti margat tvaibadda sohrida Tvaya bhigupta vicharanti nirbhaya Vinayakani kapamurdasu Prabho Matajis. Word to word translation. Tatha, like them, the non-devotees. Na, not. They, the devotees. Madhava, O Lord, husband of the goddess of fortune. Tavaka, the followers of the devotional path. The devotees. Kvachit, in any circumstances. Brashyanti, fall down. Margat, from the path of devotional service. Tvai, unto you. Baddha Sauhrida, because of being fully attached to your lotus feet. Tvaya, by you. Abhigupta, always protected from all dangers. Vicharanti, they move. Nirbhaya, without fear. Vinayaka Anikapa, the enemies who maintain paraphernalia to oppose the bhakti cult. Murdasu, on their heads. Prabhu, O Lord. Translation. And Amazing purport from Prabhupada. Translation. O Madhava, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord of the Goddess of Fortune, if devotees completely in love with you sometimes fall from the path of devotion, they do not fall like non-devotees, for you still protect them. Thus, they fearlessly traverse the heads of their opponents and continue to progress in devotional service. Purport. Devotees generally do not fall down, but if circumstantially they do, the Lord, because of their strong attachment to Him, gives them protection in all circumstances. Thus, even if devotees fall down, they are still strong enough to traverse the heads of their enemies. We have actually seen that our Krishna consciousness movement has many opponents, such as the deprogrammers, who instituted a strong legal case against the devotees. We thought that this case would take a long time to settle, but because the devotees were protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we unexpectedly won the case in one day. Thus, a case that was expected to continue for years was settled in a day because of the protection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has promised in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 31, Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. O son of Kunti, declared boldly that my devotee never perishes. In history, there are many instances of devotees like Chitraketu, Indrajumna, and Maharaj Bharat, who circumstantially fell down but were still protected. Maharaj Bharat, for example, because of his attachment to a deer, thought of the deer at the time of death, and therefore in his next life he became a deer. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tajatyante kalevaram. Because of protection by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, the deer remembered his relationship with the Lord and next took birth in a good Brahminical family and performed devotional service. Shuchinam Srimatam Gehe Yoga Brashto Abhichayate. Similarly, Chitraketu fell down and became a demon, Vritrasura, but he too was protected. Thus, even if one falls down from the path of Bhakti Yoga, one is ultimately saved. If a devotee is strongly situated in devotional service, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has promised to protect him. Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. But even if a devotee circumstantially falls down, he is protected by Madhava. The word Madhava is significant. Ma, Mother Lakshmi, the mother of all opulences, is always with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And if a devotee is in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all the opulences of the Lord are ready to help him. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanur Tara, Tatra Shrir Vijaya Bhuti, Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 78. Wherever there is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna and his devotee Arjuna, Partha, there is victory, opulence, extraordinary power, and morality. The opulences of a devotee are not as a result of karma, kanda, vichar. A devotee is always protected by all the Supreme Lord's opulences, of which no one can deprive him. Tesham nityabhiyuktanam yoga kshemam vahamyaham. Thus, a devotee cannot be defeated by any opponents. A devotee therefore should not deviate knowingly from the path of devotion. The adherent devotee is assured all protection from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, it's a continuation of series of amazing verses, which are the prayers by the demigods. And we had the good fortune of hearing from Maharaj last couple of verses. And so here in this verse, which is Shukadeva Goswami is giving a contrast from the last verse. Here how it's explained, Tatha Nate, which is not like them. The word-to-word translation again. That it's not like them, and that not like them is referring to what the previous verse was explaining, was about the Gyanis. In the verse, it's explained how that there are those people who perform severe austerities and penances. So, materially speaking, they're putting in a lot of effort. Very highly qualified people. And despite performing so much of austerities and penances, they might consider themselves liberated, but because they have not accepted the lotus feet of the Lord, so therefore Shukadeva Goswami is explaining that the intelligence is impure, and so therefore eventually they will fall down from their imagined position or imagined superiority. So they might consider themselves liberated, and Prabhupada often gives the example of all these Mayavadis who speak on very advanced philosophy and who understand themselves as Narayan, and who has gone through these extreme penances and austerities, but at the end they end up opening some schools and hospitals and doing some philanthropic work, which is good for material activity, it's a good material activity, but again, its nature is not spiritual. So therefore, even though they were acting or claiming to be situated on the spiritual platform, they fall down from their imagined spiritual position and come to material platform where they engage in material activities. So therefore, such activities are considered a fall down because of their no attraction or attachment to the lotus feet of the Lord. So this is a contrast from the previous verse, talking about the Gyanis. And so here, it's explained that someone may be very, materially speaking, very qualified and not have the regard to the lotus feet of the Lord, and then they will fall down. But then, someone who has attraction for the lotus feet of the Lord, well then they may externally, temporarily, circumstantially fall down, but still that's not considered as fall down. And they're actually still considered to be sadhu. They're still considered to be saints. And just a matter of time, they will actually be fully protected. They're actually fully protected by the Lord in all circumstances. And soon, Lord will pick them up, put them back in the position, and then they will continue. So, the Gyanis, they fall down. There is, of course, the example of the Karmis, and they also fall down. We know the examples of worshippers of demigods who very sincerely and very devotedly worshipped different demigods. like Lord Shiva, but ultimately they were not protected by the Lord. So we have a very classic example of Ravana, was fully devoted to Lord Shiva. But when it came to Lord Ram attacking the Lanka, and of course Ravana sought out the shelter and protection of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva saying that, I'm sorry, you messed with the wrong person. I can't protect you against Lord Ram. That's my Lord also. Even in the example of Banasura. Banasura was, he had 1,000 arms, and with his 1,000 arms, he assisted Lord Shiva in his dancing, and Lord Shiva was very pleased, and he said, ask me for any benediction you want. I'll grant it to you. So Banasura was very clever. So he said, Lord Shiva, I said, you're just like our family member. He said, so therefore, I request you to please protect my kingdom. So just always be present and just look after my kingdom and protect my kingdom and protect me. In other words, he got the complete protection of Lord Shiva. However, when the whole episode happened of Aniruddha and how ultimately, long story short, when Krishna came and attacked the kingdom of Banasura, and Lord Shiva was obliged to give protection to Banasura, but was ultimately frustrated and is trying to give protection to his devoted servant, Banasura. Not only Banasura was frustrated, but even Lord Shiva's ultimate weapon, Shiva Jwara, was completely frustrated. And when Lord Shiva released his Shiva Jwara weapon, which is very hot, then Krishna released his Narayana Jwara weapon. And then there was a fight between the two weapons, because ultimately they are both personalities. And Lord Shiva, or Shiva Jwara, he was completely defeated by Narayana Jwara. So he went to Lord Shiva, please protect my Lord, I'm your weapon. So now I'm being defeated and killed by Narayana Jwara, so please protect me. And Shiva Jwara said, I'm sorry, I can't do anything. So then he said, now Shiva Jwara understood, what can I do? The only thing that I can do is, I take shelter of Lord Narayan, whose weapon is now troubling me. So he takes shelter of Lord Narayan, Krishna, and offers very beautiful prayers. And ultimately is protected by Krishna. And Banasura lost his 998 hands and was completely humbled by Krishna, but was still protected because of his relationship with No, because of relationship with Prahlad Maharaj, because he's in the dynasty of Prahlad Maharaj, of the demons. So Krishna said, I will not kill you because I've guaranteed the protection to Prahlad, but I've also guaranteed the protection to all his future generations. And you are coming in that generation, so therefore you're protected. So, great example that even the greatest of the demigods, like Lord Shiva, could not protect. We know the example of Hiranyakashipu, who was benedicted by the greatest personality within the universe, Lord Brahma. But when he offended Prahlad, then that was it. Then Krishna said, okay, enough, now time to pack up. So, This is a very amazing examples of great devotees of different demigods, great personalities within the universe in material calculations who have done and achieved quite a lot, but ultimately they all fall down. Whereas someone who has developed some attraction for chanting Hare Krishna, someone who has taken shelter of the devotional service, someone who has taken shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, then they are protected from the Lord. Materially speaking, nothing great. Someone who has just chanted a few times. Then I met, just a couple of days ago, I met a person on the street, and he said, "Oh, I know what you're doing. This man with the long dreads and just looking like a very ordinary person." And I said, "Oh, I know what you're doing." He said, "Yeah, this is the Sankirtan mission. You're serving Shishi Gaur Nitai." He said, "What you're doing is amazing, and keep it up." And he just went on glorifying the whole Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada, the whole Sankirtan mission. But the guy looks like just a very regular, super long dreads, and he said, "Oh yeah," he said, I said, "Yeah, I was a devotee at one point." He said, "No, but then what happened?" He said, "No," I said, I quit. He said, I saw how there are among the devotees also, there are many problems. And so I see that I don't want to be part of the problem, and so therefore I quit." But so then I asked him, "Okay, so is your life any better now?" And he said, yeah, it's better. And you can clearly tell it's not better. But for the devotees, they can, so he's trying to practice all the principles. He's trying to practice morality, humility, kindness to other living entities. And so I pointed out that yes, you are actually practicing all the qualities of Krishna consciousness without Krishna. And he said, yeah, that's true. I said, actually, I'm trying to follow all the principles of Krishna consciousness just without Krishna. But then, where is the foundation? Where is the anchor? The morality and the principles, all these material principles, they're so shifty for someone who doesn't have Krishna as the anchor. The morality is always changing. Their principles are always changing. Whereas in Krishna consciousness, when you have Krishna, when you have his scriptures, then it's very strongly anchored in this knowledge and in these teachings. So we can see how when someone who is anchored to Krishna consciousness, then his practice is fully firm. Otherwise, it's always a bit shaky. So here Prabhupada points out that those devotees who fall down circumstantially. So there are two kinds of fall downs. There are the circumstantial fall downs, and then there are the ones that are contemplated, premeditated, planned. So circumstantial fall downs is something that happens to many of us, that has happened, that does happen, that will happen, and sometimes devotees can get a bit carried away, thinking that, I fell down from my practice for whatever happened, and so sometimes they say, I'm not qualified now. I think I should not practice anymore. Maybe I should just be honest to myself and just quit the whole thing altogether and just do what's natural to me. And in that way, devotees sometimes can feel like they should just leave Krishna consciousness because after all, they're so fallen. But here Krishna is personally guaranteeing that such circumstantial fall down is actually not taken very seriously by the Lord. And Krishna explains his own mood in how he sees such devotees in the Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada quotes here twice actually. He says the chapter 9, verse 30th and 31, where he explains that apichet suduracharo. He said that those people who durachara, achar means activities and durachara means bad activities, ill activities, something that's not aligned with the scriptures, not proper. So he said even someone who engages in such durachar, sudurachar, even actually can be very bad activity. Still, bhajate mam ananya bhak, because he's engaged in devotional service, so therefore sadhur eva, samantavya. That's mantavya. That's my opinion. So that is sadhu. Sadhur eva. Eva means only. He's sadhu. He's only sadhu. It's not that he's half sadhu and half not. Like he's done such a bad activity, so therefore he's not sadhu at all. No. Okay, not that he's 50% sadhu and 50%, not 75% sadhu and 25% asadhu. No. 100% sadhur eva. Krishna is saying that he's fully 100% still a devotee. Why? Because bhajate mam ananya bhak. Because he's engaged in my devotional service without any deviation. But there was a deviation. He engaged in material activity. So how can you say that he's fully engaged? He says, yes, that's okay. There are some slip-ups that happen. But because he's still attached to serving me, so therefore I don't take such slip-ups very seriously. I consider him a sadhu still, and I consider that he is my devotee, and so therefore it's my responsibility that I will protect such a person, and that I won't let him go. I won't let him fall down. And we have the great examples Prabhupada points out here of, who remembers from the purport? Chitraketu Maharaj, who else? Bharat Maharaj and Indradumna Maharaj, yes. Three of these great personalities who were fully attached to the Lord, who actually did a lot of devotional service. But Bharat Maharaj, who almost perfected his devotional service, was almost 100% there, and just this last final slip, that getting attached to a deer and getting attached to the point where he completely neglected his spiritual life, his Krishna consciousness. And he completely got engaged in service to deer, and for that reason he took birth as a deer. But Krishna, so someone can say that, okay, where is Krishna's protection then? How can he let Bharat Maharaj, who is such a great devotee, how can Krishna let him become a deer and let him fall down to such a lower species? Well, Krishna protects the devotion of his devotees. At the same time, he may teach a bit of a lesson to his devotees. So, even though Bharat Maharaj got the body of a deer, he completely remembered his previous life. And even in the body of a deer, he remembered that in my previous life, I was King Bharat, who quit the entire kingdom and all the opulences that many of us cannot even dream of. We cannot even imagine the opulences, the comforts, the opportunity for sense gratification that Bharat Maharaj had. And he quit all of that so that he can engage in devotional service. So now, as a deer is remembering that he had quit all of that to engage in devotional service and had become attached to a tiny deer, cub. So he said, okay, not again. I'm not making the same mistake again. Getting attached to a she-deer, getting attached to the baby deers. No, he said, I'm just going to fully engage in devotional service. And so he goes and associates with the sadhus there, and he just hears them discussing Krishna Katha. There's also the example of Maharaj Chitraketu. There's also the who becomes Vritrasura, which is also considered a fall down from a very amazing position to a position he had as a devotee to a position of a demon. And even the case of Indradumna, who became an elephant. But all of them remembered the previous lifetimes. And that's shown in the prayers that they offer to Krishna. How actually not only that they remembered the Krishna consciousness, but actually the Krishna consciousness was magnified, was amplified manifold in the next lifetimes, in their so-called fallen bodies. So they actually become better devotees, and they realized their mistakes, and they utilized the opportunity that Krishna had given them to then fully engage their minds, their bodies, their words in service to Krishna. And so that's another point to consider, and Prabhupada explains that in the series of verses in the Bharat Maharaj section, or the section where the pastime of Bharat Maharaj is explained in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, and it's explained. Prabhupada says that in the body of a deer, by constant repentance, he, Bharat Maharaj, became completely detached from all material things. By the process of constant repentance, Bharat Maharaj became completely detached, or in other words, purified. So that's another point to consider and understand and remember, is that one may fall down from their engagements in Krishna consciousness for a short duration or for a very long duration, for something that's not very bad to something that's very, very bad. As devotees, we are repentful, we are regretful of our material activities. And the modern society, they would say that no, you should not repent, you should not think negatively of yourself. You should be self-accepting. What's the word? You should be self-forgiving. So, yeah, you've done something wrong. So, what's the problem? He said, that's okay. You should accept yourself. You should say that was just what came from you, and that was just in the moment. It happened. It's okay. It's time to move on. So, according to the devotees, according to the acharyas, they would say that that's nonsense. So he said, if you accept yourself and if you forgive yourself, that means you will do it again. And then you'll again forgive yourself, and then you will do it again. And then you'll keep doing it, because there is no regret. So, as devotees, when we engage in activities that don't align with the proper principles or with the proper standards, then we are always regretful. We are not self-forgiving, but we are asking Lord for forgiveness, and we should, that repentance, that regret, that strong regret, that actually purifies us from doing those same sinful activities again. So if we are not regretful, if we are not sincerely apologetic to the devotees that, oh, sorry, Krishna, I'm really, really sorry, devotees, all the society of Krishna consciousness, my mentors, my fellow devotees, that I'm sorry that I let you down because of my bad judgment, my lack of discrimination, that I let you all down, and I'm really sorry for doing that. And I have learned my lesson, and I really, I would be careful to not do it again. So if one cries like that, if one actually sheds tears, if one actually bows down and offers their obeisances, then Krishna takes such devotee very seriously, and from within the heart, he would purify such a devotee, and he would help him make so much progress in Krishna consciousness. So falling down is not bad, but not getting up, that's not good. So one has to get up, continue Krishna consciousness again. So as we mentioned, there are two kinds of fall downs. One is circumstantial and one is contemplated, premeditated. So how do we know that a fall down was circumstantial, something that just happened in the moment? Or was it premeditated, was it contemplated? Is you know by what the devotee does after engaging in material, abominable activity. If the devotee immediately gets back up and continues his devotional service, that means that that was just circumstantial. That it just happened in the moment, but he still has a lot of devotion for Krishna, a lot of love for devotees and his spiritual masters. So he's able to get back on track straight away. Whereas those people who are contemplating, who are meditating, and on the material activities, and somehow using Krishna consciousness as kind of like a tool to facilitate the sense gratification, that's considered the seventh offense to the holy name, committing sinful activities on the strength of the holy name, and that is not acceptable. So does Krishna treat both the fall downs equally? Is it the contemplated fall down and the circumstantial fall down, does Krishna treat both the devotees equally? No. So he will teach someone who has circumstantially fall down, Krishna considers them as a sadhu, and of course such devotee has always had the love for the Lord and has complete attachment to the Lord, and he will continue. Where someone who has been premeditating, who has been contemplating, then such devotee can actually chant Hare Krishna for thousands and thousands of lifetimes and not make progress or make very little progress. But eventually, by practicing a little bit of Krishna consciousness, such devotee will also get purified and make progress and develop real attachment for the Lord. And Krishna will take the matter in his hands after that. So here, Prabhupada also points out an important point of how Krishna is telling Arjuna to make this statement, the Kaunteya prati janihi name bhakta pranachati. The Krishna, Arjuna, he said, you make this statement that my devotees will never perish. And why is he asking Arjuna? He could have made that statement himself. He's making many statements in Bhagavad Gita. Why is he not making this promise himself? Because Krishna loves his devotees more than his own words or his own promise. And so therefore, Krishna may break his own promise, like we know in the case of fight against Bhishma, and how when Bhishma is taken a vow of either killing Arjuna on that day of the battle or making Krishna lift his weapons. So at that point, Krishna lifted his weapon because, of course, he wanted to protect Arjuna. And so therefore, even though he had taken the vow of never lifting the weapon, he broke his own promise because he loves his devotees more. His love for devotees is more than even his own reputation, even his own words. So Krishna is saying that if I make the promise, some people may not take it seriously, but they know that I love my devotees more than anything. And so therefore, Arjuna, if you make that promise, because of my love for you, I will never break that promise. And I will keep that words forever true. And yes, as devotees, we know that we are always protected by Krishna. And I was hearing this very nice point by one of the devotees that we hear the pastime of Chota Haridas in Chaitanya Charitamrita, who also had a circumstantial fall down because of looking at a lady devotee with not proper intention. But there was just a look, and there was a turnaround, and that was it. There was nothing further. But even then, Mahaprabhu took it very seriously, and he actually rejected Chota Haridas. And when all the devotees petitioned for Chota Haridas, that please accept him, Mahaprabhu said no. He said he's dressed as a renunciant, and he's acting in such an irresponsible way. He said, I will not accept him. He said, if you force me so much, then I will leave Jagannath Puri. So all the devotees got afraid. And ultimately, Chota Haridas quit his body. But that was a very strong lesson that Mahaprabhu was teaching, and that was because Mahaprabhu was setting the highest standards for renunciants and for his devotees. But then, in the same parampara, we have Srila Prabhupada and his followers, some of his sannyasi disciples, who not only just looked at the woman, but some of them actually got married later on. And Prabhupada accepted them. Prabhupada was completely, he was actually like a loving father. And one of the devotees who even established the Krishna consciousness in Australia, Dvija Prabhu, who was very dear to Prabhupada, very, very dear to Prabhupada, and he was a sannyasi when he came to Australia, and he actually started the whole Krishna consciousness in Australia. And later on, for whatever circumstances, he got married, and he was feeling very bad that I have fallen down from my sannyas position, and that how can I see Prabhupada now? So he actually kind of disappeared, and nobody knew where did he. So, and Prabhupada was always asking, where is my Madhu Dvija? And so when one time when he found out that Madhu Dvija Prabhu was in Vrindavan, and Prabhupada was ecstatic, he's like, bring him. He said, I want to see him. And when Madhu Dvija Prabhu, when he came to see Prabhupada, and he just offered his obeisance, he was crying, and he said, I'm sorry, Prabhupada, I let you down. And Prabhupada said, no. He said, Prabhupada was so happy to see him. He said, where is your wife? He said, where is your child? He said, I want to see them. Where are they? And so Prabhupada was so encouraging, because he knew that even though he struggled in his principles of renunciation, he never quit Krishna consciousness. He never quit lotus feet of his spiritual master. He never quit the devotional service. And for all the service that he has done for Krishna, for Prabhupada, they would never give them up. So Prabhupada was very happy to see him. And so we see that even though there are very high standards, the parampara and Krishna, they accept, and they're very encouraging to such devotees that no, just keep going, just don't stop your service. Okay, you struggled, you said something that was not nice, you did something that was not nice, that's okay. Don't get hung up, keep going in your service. Don't stop your service. Your service must continue. And then we might have, until we become completely pure, we may have many fall downs. We may commit many mistakes. But we just keep going in our service, and eventually we'll become pure, and eventually we will not have any more fall downs. But until then, we just have to continue our service. And we have to keep praying to Krishna to please protect us. So, with that, we stop. Thank you very much. Any corrections, any comments, any questions?
Thank you, Prabhu. It's such a nourishing, nice class to hear. So I just wanted to get some clarity about the Chota Haridas incident. Why? I'd never thought of it actually. Like, why did Mahaprabhu reject him so sternly in light of the Bhagavad Gita Apichet Suduracharo verse? Is it not applying to sannyasis, this verse, or in Mahaprabhu's vision? Like,
Mahaprabhu, as the topmost Vaishnava, was setting the highest standard of Krishna consciousness, and was setting the highest standard, not just Krishna consciousness, but more of one in the sannyas order. And so, for all his followers, he had the very high standards, because he knew that if he becomes lenient, then the rest of the society will laugh at him, So, and will not only laugh at him, but all his followers. So Mahaprabhu had to set a very high standard, because after all, he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and coming as a topmost Vaishnava, so he cannot compromise on what's the topmost standards. And so even though for his grihastha devotees, he would encourage them, and he would appreciate their service. But when he came to someone in the renounced order, he was very, very, very strict. Again, that is the standard that he is setting for the times and the circumstances that he was living in. Because people then and in the future would look at Mahaprabhu and the standards that he set. So he could not compromise. Even though later he accepted Chota Haridas. Yes. Anything to add, Prabhu?
I was thinking about the verse regarding the statement you made. Apani Achari Prabhu Jivera Shikhai. So Mahaprabhu really wanted to teach the living entities by his own example. So we can repeatedly see this in Chaitanya Charitamrita. He never wanted to meet the king Prataparudra, even though many times devotees recommended that he's not a Vishayi. Still Mahaprabhu was telling, he's a Vishayi, I will not see a king. So it is very clearly mentioned that it was only to teach his associates. That he didn't want to even see, or he didn't want to even touch. When Prataparudra touched, because Mahaprabhu fell and Prataparudra touched him, he said, Chi, why are you touching me? You're a Vishay. He didn't even recognize the king, even though he was a great devotee. Of course, he accepted. So, yes, this external and internal aspects are there. Externally, he really wanted to teach immediate followers to start with, and as Jivera Shikhai for all the living entities. So there we can see the strictness which was followed by Mahaprabhu. And apparently, even Choto Haridas Thakur, his mistake was minor. The Mataji was older and he looked, so that's all. And it was, and begging is the dharma of a renunciant. Still, he wanted to teach. So it was very interesting point. Yes, thank you.
It's mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita after that, all the other followers, the renunciants, even in the dream, even the minds, they were not thinking about associating with opposite sex. So, because Mahaprabhu just set a high standard, yes.
Thanks for the class, Prabhu. I was just thinking those, the protection of Krishna, it comes down to the development of our character. Like you were mentioning about the non-devotees and then the devotees. We have some training in developing or cultivating our character. So we have the ability and the tools to be in a situation and say, okay, no, I'm not going to do that. Whereas the non-devotees, some do. And I also think that they also are repentive, but they don't have that character to be able to the next time say no. They just keep falling down again and again. But for a devotee, we have that. We've been cultivating, building our character and morals and ethics, so we can say no, or we can obviously feel regret and remorse about what we've done, but the next time we're not going to do it again. Whereas those guys, they keep making the same mistake.
Mm.
And Krishna's protection is he's protecting the bhakti kripa lifetime after lifetime, because we've, some of us have maybe done something previously, or we're just starting out in this life. So Krishna, as you were saying, teaches us, gives us lessons to build that character, and that character helps to strengthen that kripa. So Krishna's protection is in all different ways, association, spiritual mentors, teachers, prasadam, everything, holy name.
Yeah.
Some thoughts?
Thank you. Yes, Krishna is protecting us by providing us the whole society of Krishna consciousness, where we have access to the association of devotees and everything that you mentioned. And in that we gradually progress. And sometimes devotees may not necessarily exhibit the highest standards because this is like a hospital, and of course you can expect some sick people. You can expect most of us being sick at varying degrees. But because Krishna is the anchor, so then, we have the desire to follow the standards that's been set by other great acharyas and the scriptures and what Krishna wants, and so therefore we do it for their pleasure. And because of our developing attachment, actually we start to develop all the good qualities, and that's why Krishna explains why the devotees have all the good qualities. It's because they're determined to develop them. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah, so it's a material activity, and is it good or bad? It's still material. So from the transcendental point of view, it's all bad. So it's a fall down, of course, because for a moment you were completely situated in the spiritual platform. Okay, by the way, just maybe I should repeat the question, isn't it, for those online listeners. Prabhu's question is about the Mayavadis who are at one point situated in transcendence or liberated. They're so-called falling down. Is it falling down when, even though they're engaging in something that's in mode of goodness, like opening hospitals or education centers? Why is it fall down, or is it actually fall down? Is that right?
I agree it's fall down, but
Yes.
But is it the same thing as a person who falls into bad activities? Is it considered from higher perspective, it's the same quality of a fall down, like a person who does sudachar and a person who does some sattvic work?
Yeah, so if sometimes these people, they think that, okay, we are not this body, we are the spirit soul, and that we have realized it, we have realized we are Brahman, and then the next minute, like just when they've reached the perfection, then they're opening the hospitals. It's like, so that's not spiritual, that's material. So therefore, that's a clear fall down, because they're engaging in something that's material, something that's in mode of goodness, and they're considering that to be the highest activity. Whereas the devotees who are serving Krishna and then they fall down to doing something that's very abominable in mode of ignorance or mode of passion, then such activities, even though they're performing their activities, they have attachment for Krishna. They have attachment for devotees. A lot of devotees still love Prabhupada. So that's never taken away, that's never gone, and so therefore they quickly come back. So that's not a fall down, because the devotion has always been there and just kind of temporarily not manifesting, but they're back on track. Yeah, whereas for the Mayavadis, they are engaging in material activities, and that's kind of the highest thing for them in the material world. Yeah. So that's a fall down.
One additional thing, would it be for a devotee to get involved in material welfare activities? Is that also a fall down for a devotee?
Depending on what's the purpose. The one immediate example that comes to my mind is Bhaktivedanta Hospital. You know, that Radhanath Maharaj's project, which is like, he's a sannyasi, Swami, why is he engaging in like opening hospitals? But the whole idea of that hospital is all the devotees there, all the doctors there are all devotees. And they have the deities there, and you know, they have the like Jagannath. I think they do like a not Rath Yatra, but like they take the deities around, and so everyone gets to take darshan, whoever is admitted in the hospitals and wherever they are. So all the devotees are preaching there, there's the holy name going on the whole time. So, you know, it might appear like a material activity, but it's completely spiritual. So, okay, we can open the schools, education centers. We have education center in New Govardhan. But we are not just giving some karmic material education. Of course, we are giving that, but then we're also giving something spiritual, something more. So we're not just engaged in doing, sometimes there is like flood relief, there is that relief and this relief, whatever relief programs we're doing, and we're distributing food, but that food is offered to Krishna. So we don't engage in just some kind of a material goodness activities, but we are engaging in Krishna conscious activities. And yeah, so that's transcendental. Okay, we should finish. Thank you very much. Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai.
Hari